This is the ALORAIR 180PPD Commercial Dehumidifier, and I've been running it for a little over 6 months in my sealed crawl space and part of my basement. Short version, it's powerful, it's built like job site gear, and it does exactly what I bought it to do. Keep a big, damp space steady around 50% humidity without babysitting. It's not light, it's not whisper quiet, and the app control isn't fancy, but the core dehumidifying performance has been rock solid for me. Setup was straightforward. I placed it on a level section of the crawl space, gave it a good 8 to 10 inches of clearance, connected the included drain hose to the built-in pump, and ran the hose up to a utility drain. The long cords help a ton. Both the power cord and drain hose are long enough that I didn't have to rearrange the entire area. It's heavy, listed around 55 pounds, and there are no wheels, so carrying it down was a two-person job for me. Once it's in place though, that stable footprint is the right choice for a crawl space. I don't want a rolling unit shifting on uneven ground. Key features that matter in day-to-day use. This is an LGR unit, which means the refrigerant system is optimized to wring more moisture out of cooler, damp air. It's rated 180 ppd at saturation, but the meaningful number for home use is 85 ppd at AHAM, tested around 80 degrees Fahrenheit and 60% RH. If you're new to these terms, AHAM is a standard that makes specs comparable and realistic. ppd is pints per day of moisture removed. It moves about 210 CFM of air and is advertised for up to 2,300 square feet. Coverage depends on how open your space is, but the airflow feels strong for its size. It also has auto defrost, which lets it work down near 34 degrees Fahrenheit without icing up, and a built-in pump that can push water up over 14 feet. That pump is why I chose this model. I didn't want to fight with gravity drains or empty buckets. There's also app control. Mine pairs with the AlorAir app over 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. From my experience, performance has been excellent. My crawl space was hovering in the high 60s to low 70s% RH at the start of spring. After I set the target to 50% RH, it dropped under 55% in about a day and stabilized near my set point after another day. During a week of heavy rain, it ran more often and my meter topped out around 52 to 54% RH, which is right where I want it. The air feels less clammy, and the musty smell that used to greet me at the access door faded within the first week. I keep a separate sensor down there because I don't like guessing on humidity. The onboard reading on the AlorAir tends to be a few points lower than my external sensor, maybe 4 to 6% in my space. That's normal enough for me. I just set the target a couple points tighter to compensate. Noise-wise, it's not quiet, but it's reasonable for a commercial unit. The spec says around 58 dBA. In a crawl space or unfinished basement that's not near living areas, it's fine. I wouldn't put it next to a bedroom. Heat output is noticeable. Any compressor dehumidifier dumps the heat it pulls from the air back into the room, so expect the space to warm a few degrees when it's working hard. In my case, that slight temperature bump actually helps reduce relative humidity. Energy use lines up with what's advertised. It draws in the neighborhood of 600 to 650 watts when the compressor is running. If it ran constantly, that would be roughly 5 to 16 kilowatt hours per day, but in practice it cycles on and off. In a wet week, my smart plug showed about 7 to 10 kilowatt hours per day. In drier stretches, closer to 3 to 5 kilowatt hours. At my local rates, I'm seeing anywhere from roughly $12 to $35 a month, depending on weather and how tight I keep the set point. In my opinion, that's a fair trade for protecting framing, subfloor, and insulation from moisture. The pump has been reliable. I tested the vertical lift by running the hose up and over a joist to a drain that's a few feet higher than the unit. It purges automatically, and there's a manual purge button I press before I move or power it down. I had one minor drip at the quick connect on day 1. Tightening the clamp and reseating the hose solved it. The hose has stayed clear, but I check it during filter cleanings to make sure nothing is kinked. About the app, it works, but it's basic. Pairing required me to stick to 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, and it took a couple tries before it stuck. The app lets me see humidity, temperature, and turn the unit on or off, plus change the set point. Occasionally it shows offline for a minute and then reconnects on its own. I wouldn't rely on it as my only monitor, but I like having a quick peek without crawling under the house. If remote control is your priority, set your expectations to useful, not fancy. Build quality feels appropriately rugged. The housing is tough plastic, the handles are sturdy, and the control panel is simple. Mine arrived with a small scuff on the shell, nothing that impacted function. I'd heard complaints about units arriving dead or making odd noises, so I was a little nervous unboxing it. In my case, startup was normal. Compressor kicked on after a brief delay, and airflow was clean. Over 6 months, I've had no error codes. I did once hear a light rattle that turned out to be the filter not seated all the way. Pushing it in firmly fixed it. Maintenance is easy. There's a Mervate filter at the intake that I vacuum monthly and swap every few months because my crawl space can get dusty. Keeping the filter clean helps maintain airflow and reduces frost cycles in cooler weather. Beyond that, I make sure the hose is clear and the unit sits level. That's basically it. It's perfect for big, damp areas that are hard to reach and need long-term, unattended moisture control. My crawl space is sealed, roughly 1,500 to 1,800 square feet, depending on how you count the short sections, and this has no trouble maintaining the set point. If you've had water intrusion, or you're trying to keep humidity low to protect hardwoods and prevent mold, the capacity and the pump make a noticeable difference. The auto restart after a power blip has already saved me once during a storm. It came right back on with the previous settings. I'd recommend this for homeowners with sealed crawl spaces or large basements who are tired of emptying buckets, and for contractors who need a compact, job-ready unit that can lift condensate up to a drain. If you need whisper-quiet operation in a living area, this isn't the right tool. If you're banking entirely on super polished smart features, the app may feel too basic. And if you're moving it around often, be ready for the weight and the no-wheels design. From my experience, the big wins are the strong moisture removal, the reliable pump, and the set-it-and-forget-it control. The trade-offs are the heft, the noticeable operating noise, and an app that gets the job done without much flair. I came into this purchase cautious after reading mixed reviews about reliability, and I can only speak for my unit. But 6 months in, performance has been consistent and the space is drier, cleaner smelling, and under control. In my opinion, the value here is in the fundamentals. The ALORAIR 180PPD is built to run in tough spaces. It moves a lot of air for its size, and the LGR system with auto defrost keeps it working when temps dip. If you match its capacity to your space and give it a proper drain path, it's a workhorse. In conclusion, the ALORAIR 180PPD Commercial Dehumidifier earns a spot on my short list for serious crawl space and basement humidity control. It isn't flashy, but it's effective. If you've got square footage to cover and you want automated drainage plus strong, consistent drying, this model is worth considering. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and drop your questions or your own experience in the comments. Thank you for watching.